Hi and welcome to this video where we're going to be looking at the data drill down facilities within the QPSMR companion. So we've got a very small example survey here which has got question 1, which is a single response question, a value here which is dollars spent, which is a floating point value which stores exact expenditure, and gender and region. So we're going to look at how we can use this small amount of data in the data drill down facilities. And to do that, you go into the analysis part of the QPSMR companion and you select data drill down. And we'll need to browse and pick our data file, which is data.asc, and that pulls up a screen where we have the variables down the left hand side and then entries that we can make here. So these are rather like, at this point, very quick tables that we can run. So let's just do a very quick table. If I select, and I can drag and drop region into here, you'll see I immediately get up the counts for each of the regions, and I can do a crosstab here by choosing these as the columns, and I've now got a crosstab of region down the side and gender across the top. If I want percentages, vertically or horizontally, I can add those. There's a button here to click and that will give me the percentages. So we can see that 30% of males are in the north in this particular survey, and it also says here there's no significant figures found using significance testing on this particular table. And we could do another table now. We could pick the dollars spent and drag that into the rows. And you can see now we've got another table, and this time we have got some coloured markings here. These are the answers that are coming up for the amount spent. It is very false data this, that 10 people spent $1, 10 spent $2.50 and so on. But it's marking the values of significance with a key down the bottom here to indicate what that significance level is. So you can see there's the 16% here is being highlighted as significant. So now we can use those tables if we want to in Excel, for example. So we have tools here to either prepare the table we're viewing for Excel, or we could prepare all the tables. So I'm going to click on this button and then I'm going to open this in Excel, and you can see here in T1 I've got the first table that we produced, region by gender, and in the second worksheet we've got that table with the significance markers added and the key at the bottom of the values for the amount spent by gender. Alright, I'm going to close that now, and let's go back to this window. So we can clear these things from the windows here. So I can just clear this information. I've just got gender across the top. I can go back to replacing region here, and I could show this table now in terms of the amount people spent. So it's no longer going to be a table of region by gender, it's actually going to be based on expenditure. And you can see here now the expenditure amongst males, most expenditure is made in the south. 49% of the expenditure is made in the south in this particular piece of data. Because the data is weighted, it's producing an effective sample size. This is not what I call respondent weighting. This is weighting by a value. So we'd probably turn that off in this particular case because it's not particularly relevant. You'll find here you've got global table settings with a real huge number of options here. So we could turn off the effective sample size because that really isn't particularly relevant here. And if we click that and click OK, we now come back to a more familiar table where it's showing the unweighted base and now the weighted amount spent by the sample. And again, we could save that into an Excel report. So I'm going to clear that bit of information now, go back to a standard table. There we go. So we've just gone back now to region down the side and gender across the top. And now I can apply a filter. So I could drag into here the answer to question 1, and I could choose the people that said yes. So now when I apply this filter, and I could type this in just like a condition in the main part of the companion specifying filters, And now we see this table drops to 50 people who said yes at question 1, and the table is percentaged on that. And if I want to change that, I could come back in here and pick the second answer. I've got just the second filter in here of the 50 people who didn't say yes at question 1. And we can then switch the way we view this data if we want to. If we switch modes here, you'll see there's a button that says switch to table mode, which is what we're in now. We could switch to distinction mode, and let's do that. And that will enable us to compare two different samples. So we could compare the people who said yes at question 1 with the people who said no at question 1. And we can see now that if we turn off our global filter, we've got a table that shows the answers to Q1 and to gender, but split for the two samples and showing us the relative data side by side with any significance testing applied as well. So that's just a quick intro to the data drill down facilities. You can obviously go beyond this in terms of tables if you go into the QPS Insight part of the program, and that will allow you to do full batches of tables and set up banners and so on in much more detail. It should be said though that any variables that you construct can be used here within this data drill down facility. Thank you for joining this session, and I hope it's been of use to you. Thank you.